Thank you very much. And thank you, Governor. You raised an interesting and important issue about whether corruption is cultural. And there are, as I was indicating in my speech, there were periods in the United Kingdom when corruption was completely endemic. I mean, the whole system stank. And so during the 18th century, there was no divide at all between what public money and private money. The first Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Walpole, put the government funds through his own bank account and made a turn on them. And there was vast corruption. It wasn't until later in the 19th century that people realized a universal truth about corruption, which is that it's incredibly inefficient and incredibly unfair. And corruption prevents government from what it says it's going to do on behalf of the people, because it leads to a siphoning off of resources. So at sometimes it can be cultural, but there's no reason why the culture of Nigeria cannot change. And in any case, just as with every other country that faces problems of corruption, Nigeria is not corrupt in every department and in every area and in every individual. The thing about corruption is that people who have a corrupt propensity use that, and it's criminal, to increase their power. May I say to Femi, as well as being wrong about your chronology, and in believing that 9/11 happened after the Iraq War rather than before, and we can talk about that some other time, you are also wrong, and thank you, Governor, in what you say about the British banks. Maybe years ago, it was possible for corrupt anybody from around the world to put their money into British banks. These days, it is incredibly difficult. Very tough rules on money laundering. And then with the Corruption Act, which came into force 2 years ago, if a Brit comes here to talk to somebody here about what they can do with their corrupt money, then we will, and we will, jail them in the United Kingdom. If you like, we'll jail you too. And if the government has a word to me afterwards, I can make those arrangements. For a fee. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we're going to move straight on to the next part of the program. So I'll invite Prime Minister John Bruton to come to the stage now. But as he comes onto the stage and Jack Straw departs the stage, I think we should give a very special thank you to him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And may we invite the other panelists to please join us. Gentlemen and ladies, Your Excellencies, please join me as I welcome a professor of history, an activist, and of course, a former Provisional Council chairman of the movement of the survival of Ogoni people, Professor Ben Nanen. Please a round of applause for him. May I also welcome to join us in this session a journalist, a businessman, and a man who has taught the Nigerian students on how to communicate and indeed lead the people of Nigeria right in the University of Ife. Please join me as I welcome Dr. Chidi Amota. A round of applause for him, please. And of course, I also have a professor of economics, a man who knows how to speak economics as well as some degree of politics. Join me as I welcome from the University of Port Harcourt, Professor Willie Okowa. Right, thank you very much. Professor Chan, this is going to be a unique panel, and we do hope that they will also keep to time. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move to the second major presentation today. And this is going to be something I think very, very special. I want to introduce our speaker, John Bruton. He was what they call the Taoiseach, and that is the Prime Minister of Ireland. And as the Taoiseach, or the Prime Minister of Ireland, he accomplished some amazing things. It was during his time as Prime Minister that the Irish economy grew on an average 8.7% every single year. This was almost unheard of in a European country. But more to the point, he presided over a country that not only expanded rapidly economically to the great benefit of the people, he also was a major figure in the bringing of peace to Ireland. The very, very difficult negotiations that have finally led to some kind of settlement and reconciliation between groups in Northern Ireland, these deliberations, these negotiations, these extremely difficult attempts at dialogue were attempts at dialogue that were led by Prime Minister Bruton. Without his efforts, I doubt whether we would have peace in Northern Ireland today. Not only that, but he's been a major figure in European affairs. He's championed the integration of Europe. He's made the European Union stronger today than what it was before he became involved. And he was very recently the ambassador of the European Union to the United States. So he's a figure who, even though he's now stepped down from being Taoiseach of Ireland, is still very much involved in international relations. There's very much public service even when you depart from the highest office. And as the ambassador who crosses the Atlantic between Europe and the United States, he has cemented good relations and developed even better relations between two very powerful continents. The constructive role that he's played in public life, and particularly his role in bringing peace to a bitterly divided community, divided religiously, is an example, I think, to all of us who come from countries with similar problems. It's my very great pleasure to introduce to you an extraordinary person, former Prime Minister of Ireland, John Bruton.